way, and it's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. We've did all the right steps of investigation, etc., in Saudi Arabia, and we've improved our system to be sure that nothing happened like that. And it's painful and it's a huge mistake, and we are doing our best that this doesn't happen again.
Mr. President, this side, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Mr. President. The Crown Prince has been instrumental in helping lifting the sanctions on Syria. Will there be any joint investment between the U.S. and Syria? And will you visit
Are
Damascus?
you from Syria?
No, but
Where are you from?
I'm from Palestine.
Oh, making a lot of progress, huh? Very good. They
And
like
I have
the
a question for the
Palestinians
Crown
like
Prince
that.
as well after you, sir.
The Palestinians are doing very well, actually. I think we're working very closely with a lot of people that make everybody happy, including Israel, the Palestinians, and everybody. That's very interesting. No, I think that I will tell you, the Crown Prince called me, and he specifically asked me if I would lift the sanctions on Syria because he wants to see Syria make it. As you know, the leader of Syria was just here. We had a great meeting, and he's a strong guy, and I guess you need a strong person to run it. And I think Syria's made tremendous progress. We did lift the sanctions at the request of the Crown Prince. Also, the president of Turkey, Erdogan, called me specifically. He said, you know, if you don't lift the sanctions, Syria doesn't have a chance. If you do, they have a very good chance. And between the two of them and some others, I lifted the sanctions. And the results so far have been pretty good.
Mr. President, can I ask you a question about F-35s that are being sold to Saudi Arabia? Are these the same ones that are being used by the Israeli military? And if so, how does that allow for the qualitative military edge for Israel? And then I want to ask you, because you brought up the plight of the Palestinians, are you aware of relocation flights to South Africa that are taking place right now?
Which flights?
There are relocation flights that are taking place. Some Palestinians are being charged up to $2,000
I'm not going
a
to
seat.
South Africa for the G20 because I think their policies on the extermination of people are unacceptable. So I'm not going. So I won't refer to anything having to do with South Africa. South Africa has behaved extremely badly. But I will say that when you look at the F-35 and you're asking me, is it the same? I think it's going to be pretty similar, yeah. You know,
How will that
this
affect-
is a great ally, and Israel's a great ally. And I know they'd like you to get planes of reduced caliber. I don't think that makes you too happy. They've been a great ally. Israel's been a great ally. And we're looking at that exactly right now. But as far as I'm concerned, I think they are both at a level where they should get top of the line. Yes, please.
Can I just quickly ask for the Crown Prince, if I could just ask about the direct talks between U.S.
It's all right.
and
Steve, 1 second. Go ahead.
Have you reached an agreement on a U.S.-Saudi defense treaty today? And are you going to bring up the Abraham Accords in your
I
discussion?
already brought them up.
What did you say?
I think I got a positive response. Would you like to respond?
Yeah, so
I'll put you on the spot.
so definitely we believe having a good relation with all Middle Eastern countries is a good thing, and we want to be part of the Ibrahim Accord, but we want also to be sure that we secure a clear path of two-state solution. And today we have a healthy discussion with Mr. President that we're going to work on that to be sure that we can prepare the right situation as soon as possible to have that.
I think we're, I don't want to use the word commitment, but we've had a very good talk on the Abraham Accords. We talked about one state, two state. We talked about a lot of things in a short period of time. We'll be discussing it further too. But I think you have a very good feeling toward the Abraham Accords.
Yes, definitely, Mr. President. We want peace for the Israelis. We want peace for the Palestinians. We want them to coexist peacefully in the region, and we will do our best to reach that day.
And the defense agreement, have you reached agreement on that?
We pretty much have.
Quick question for the Crown Prince, if I could just finish.
We have reached agreement on that. Okay.
I wanted to ask you about the direct talks between the United States and Iran. Have you been fully briefed on that? And are you concerned at all about how this might impact Saudi security interests?
Well, we are close ally. We'll be working closely together on that issue, and we will do our best to help to reach a deal between the United States of America and Iran. And we believe it's good for Iran's future to have a good deal that will satisfy the region and the world and the rest of America. So we will do our best to see that day happen.
And by the way, Iran does want to make a deal. I can say I think they very badly want to make a deal. I am totally open to it, and we're talking to them, and we start a process. But it would be a nice thing to have a deal with Iran, and we could have done it before the war, but that didn't work out. And something will happen there, I think. But they would very much like, I mean, they may say something else, but they would very much like to have a deal.
Do we have a
Mr. President, you
timeline?
announced
Yeah,
that you are
please.
going to sell 35.
Say it.
You are planning, you said you are planning to sell the F-35 jets to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Is it part of the security agreement? And how you assess the defense partnership between Saudi Arabia and the United States? And the question was,
Well, I just said it, though. I mean, we're gonna sell them F-35s. That's the end of the question, I
Is it
guess.
part of the security agreement or no?
No, we're gonna have a deal. They're gonna purchase F-35s. They're buying them from Lockheed, and it's a great plane. We make, by the way, the best military equipment. You saw that during the Iran little skirmish. We make the best planes, the best missiles. We make the best offensive missiles. We make the best military equipment in the world.
Nice. For His Royal Highness, I would like to ask you about how you see the cooperation.
I still haven't gotten my
between the
check,
United States and
but
Saudi Arabia,
I'm trying to get back in their good graces.
Advanced technological field, especially AI, and how it will support Saudi Arabia to serve its goal to achieve the vision of 2030.
Well, I will try to answer that in short, but definitely there's a lot of interest in many industries between Saudi Arabia and America, and we are signing a lot of agreements in different areas that will really add value to American economy, but also to add value to us in Saudi Arabia. And AI, it's critical for us because one of long-term problems that we could have is lack of workforce. As you've seen in the past few years, some of them have reached 30% of the global immigration to Saudi Arabia. So we know that to assure the Saudi Arabia GDP growing, with the lack of workforce that we have, we need to use a lot of computing power to replace job in the long term. So that's huge demand in Saudi Arabia, and we want to link it to American private sectors and getting the supply from America. So there's a lot of opportunities in that area.
And we're also involved in AI in Saudi Arabia. So we're working, and we're leading by a lot on AI. Actually a lot. China would be in second place, but we're leading by a lot. And I have to say this, and our relationship with China has been very good. And as far as buying our farm products, they're pretty much on schedule, Scott. I'd like you to call them, say if they could speed it up, would be good. Okay, but they're pretty much on schedule.
Yeah, sorry, Lydia, please. If I may, I have a question for both the Crown
Sorry,
Prince
go
and
ahead.
Prince.
Who are you? Where are you from?
Faisal Abbas from Arab News, Saudi Arabia, Your Excellency.
You should be a friendly question.
Your Royal Highness, just picking up on something you've just mentioned about how some people try to destroy the relationship between Saudi Arabia and the United States. Perhaps, since the launch of the vision, we've been used to having the bigger picture and that everything fits into the bigger picture. Might you want to elaborate a little bit about where is the relationship, the bilateral relationship, the strategic partnership between Saudi Arabia and the United States heading, and what's the big picture there?
Well, I don't think it's a relation that we can replace it from the Saudi side or the American side. It's a critical relationship for our political attempt, for our economical attempt, for our security, for our military, for many things. And it has been there for 9 decades. And the opportunities that we have today, it's huge, and seems that it's going to get deeper in the next few decades. And what we are having today and tomorrow with President Trump, it's really a huge new chapter in this relation that will add value to both of us.
When you think about it, I'm just sitting here. You're with the future king, a man who's respected by everybody, a man that doesn't have to be doing this, really. I don't have to be doing it either. And yet we're sitting here taking questions, we didn't say, oh, you can't talk about this. And there's never been transparency like this, even in his country, but there's never been, in our country, that's been acknowledged, but we didn't put restrictions. And I'm saying it's sort of wonderful to be taking questions from all over the world. Everybody's here. This is just a small group representative of tremendous numbers of media that are outside, that are very jealous that these people were so selected. But they're representing a lot of people that are outside. I think it's terrific that we could be sitting here being this open, and I think it's really a wonderful thing.
If you don't mind, I have a personal question for you.
Okay, here we go. I should have said that.
So apart from everything you mentioned in your opening remarks, you forgot to mention that you've de-escalated 7 wars since you started. at least in our part of the world, you are seen as a peacemaker. And adding that to all the executive orders and everything else you've mentioned, I really have to wonder, you, in your speech in Saudi Arabia, I was there, you said that His Royal Highness does not sleep at night thinking how he does things better. We wonder in Saudi Arabia, how do you manage your own time? And what's your formula for
He
managing?
does not sleep much and I don't sleep much. I think we have the same schedule. We're thinking about our countries. And if you sleep a lot and you're president, we just had one that slept more than any president. He broke every record. He sleeps all the time, during the day, during the night, on the beach. The only guy could fall asleep on the beach with the press watching. No, he's not a sleeper. I'm not a sleeper. We don't. We talk at night. We can talk. I can call him almost any time. He goes, hi, how you doing? It's like the craziest times. But now, when you love your job, when you love your country, and when you're in a position like we are, future king, highly respected, crown prince, and in my case, president, you're thinking about your country. You're thinking about making America great again. We're thinking about keeping Saudi Arabia strong and vital and in a pretty tough part of the world, tricky part, right? Tricky part, a lot of tricky people. But he thinks about his country and I think about my country. I don't want to sleep.
President Trump, do you expect a formal civil nuclear deal to be reached? Can you talk to us about that aspect
With
of
who?
today's, with Saudi
I
Arabia?
can see that happening.
Do you think an agreement will happen today?
It's not urgent. It's always, when you have civil nuclear, but you have more oil than almost anybody else. We actually have more oil and gas than they do, but I refuse to say that.
And on
We
that-
have more than, we have more than anybody, can you imagine?
and on the F-35s, are those sales, Israel had reportedly wanted those sales to be conditioned on Saudi Arabia moving to normalized
Israel will be
relations.
happy.
Is
Israel's
that
gonna
a
be happy.
condition of the F-35
Israel's
sales?
aware, and they're gonna be very happy.
Conference.
Yeah, please. Hello.
Hi, hello. My name is Amal Hazani from Sharq al-Awsat newspaper. I'm from Riyadh, of course. I have a question for the conference and for you, Mr. President. Conference of Saudi Arabia, how much you expected from developing the
Can't understand anything she's
in the
saying.
United States in the field of new energy, AI, supply chain. How much you expected from that?
No limit. Just continue pushing forward. There's no limit. So we just push forward for all the opportunities that
The
we have.
fact that Trump has got him in this
This is
position is
different.
hilarious.
This is really a great ally. Just the fact that they're now doing, I came in here at 6, I did not know that. I was pushing for the 1 trillion, but he didn't tell me that. Now he told me, this is a great ally of ours. You know, when you invest $1 trillion, that's national security for us too, because it creates jobs, it creates a lot of things. And I would say, Scott, right? When you hear one country is putting $1 trillion into the United States, that creates national security. And, you know, I think that they don't have to say that, but I think a big part of that is also the fact that tariffs are in play. But even beyond tariffs, that's a real ally that will do that, creates a lot of power for the United States.
We are also in Saudi Arabia very happy for this much of Saudi
Right, for the relationship.
money is a function here, and of course it's come back for us for benefit. So it's complementary interest. So this is the I
Well,
think what's
yeah.
different the friends and ally do.
Well, look, I love the country of Saudi Arabia. I know the people very well. The level of treatment that we go when we go to Saudi Arabia is something that is incredible. And the people like us, and I think they really like America, especially when I'm president. I don't think they liked America so much maybe for 4 years recently. I think Obama treated Saudi Arabia very, very badly, as you know. And I think Biden didn't have any idea where the hell he was. I don't think Biden knew the difference.
How would you describe the future relationship with Saudi Arabia? I mean, from the strategic aspects, would you describe that?
Say the relationship is with,
And then of economic,
I would say
politics,
top of the
and
line.
religion.
It's as good as it can. I don't think it can get much better. We have look, we have a country that trusts us, and that's why they make that investment. If they didn't trust us, they couldn't make that investment. And we trust them. They've been very reliable. Now, I rebuilt our military in my first term, and we spent trillions of dollars, and we gave away some of it in Afghanistan stupidly because we had stupid people running our country. But we gave away, but that's as much as it was, it's a tiny fraction of what we put here. And we're bringing our military to a new level, the highest level ever. We have those plans to go now. And again, it's all American jobs and everything, so it's good for a lot of reasons. But as far as Saudi is concerned, no, I don't think our relationship could be better. I don't think they had a great relationship under Biden, and I don't think they had a great relationship under Obama. But they have a great relationship under Trump. When we did the presidential walk of fame, you saw that, right? And we're walking, and I asked the Crown Prince, so outside of Trump, because I blow everyone away, who was the best president for Saudi Arabia? And you could, maybe, it's an interesting answer. I don't know.
Roosevelt, who started it, which is a Democrat. And Reagan, he's one of the historical presidents that
The
have
fact
close
that he's
ties with
putting
Saudi
him on
Arabia.
the spot, dude.
But we've worked with all presidents.
Does Trump
during that
blow
time.
them all away?
No, it's another league, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
And Trump doesn't give a fist pump. I grabbed that hand. I don't give a hell where that hand's been. I grabbed that hand. Remember Biden? He travels for 20 hours, gets out, and he gives a fist bump. No. When you get out of the plane and you got the future king and the man who's one of the most respected people in the world, you shake his hand. You don't give him a fist bump, right? We don't want to ask you about that, but I can't imagine you were thrilled. You were like a little bit surprised. He's a fantastic guy. You don't do that. Yeah, please.
We're getting closer to the end of the year. Have you started the interviews for the Fed chair?
Yes.
Who have you interviewed?
I think I already know my choice.
Who is it?
Well, I liked him, but he's not going to take the job. He refused. You like Treasury better, right?
Much better, sir.
So we are talking to various people. And frankly, I'd love to get the guy currently in there out right now. But people are holding me back. He's done a terrible job, hurting housing a little bit. The truth is, we've been so successful, we've blown past his interest rate stupidity. He's been wrong. That's why I call him too late. He's too late. Jerome Too Late Powell. He was recommended to me by a guy that made a bad choice. And it's too bad. But despite that, it's having very little impact because we have all of these things happening. But it has an impact on housing to a certain extent. He's a fool. He's a stupid man. But we have some very good people.
Yes, sir. You'll be sitting down with them in the near future. And
We have some surprising names, and we have some standard names that everybody's talking about. And we may go the standard way. It's nice to every once in a while go politically correct. But we have some great names. Steve,
Have you talked to the president of the Bureau of Venezuela yet? Are you still open to that?
he wants to talk.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm open to talk. I talk to everybody. But no, he wants to. They treated us very badly. They sent all of their prison population into the United States, and we're getting them out rapidly. But he sent all of his, and he sends drugs into the United States and other things. No, he treated us badly. He was dealing with a bad president, and he was able to get away. We have now, I think we have the strongest borders anywhere in the world. Nobody's coming in unless they come in legally. We're taking very weak borders where millions of people came in. For the last 6 months, I don't do these reports. They say 0 people have been able to come in. Is that pretty good?
Mr.
I don't know.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the
Dude,
Epstein
he's
files? Why not
so
just do it
uncomfortable
now?
sitting next to Trump. It's
It's
so
not the question
funny.
that I mind. It's your attitude.
Oh.
I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. you're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files is, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I would turn out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax to try and get me not to be able to talk about the $21 trillion that I talked about today. It's a hoax. Now, I just got a little report, and I put it in my pocket, of all the money that he's given to Democrats. He gave me none, zero, no money to me, but he gave money to Democrats. And people are wise to your hoax. And ABC's is your company, your crappy company, is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something.
Oh, he's
I think
rolling.
the license
He's
should
rolling.
be taken away from ABC because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, the chairman, who should look at that, because I think when you come in and when you're 97% negative to Trump, and then Trump wins the election in a landslide, that means obviously your news is not credible, and you're not credible as a reporter. So I've answered your question. You should go and look at the Democrats who received money from Epstein, who spent their time. Larry Summers was with him all the time. That creep of the fund guy was with him all the time. What's his name? Who? Reid Hoffman. I don't know Reid Hoffman, but I know he spends a lot of money on the radical left. Reid Hoffman, in my opinion, should be under investigation. He's a sleazebag. And those are the people, but they don't get any press. They don't get any news. And you're not after the radical left because you're a radical left network. But I think the way you ask a question with the anger and the meanness is terrible. You ought to go back and learn how to be a reporter. No more questions from you. Who else has a question?
Prince, very quickly, I want to ask,
How much money is Saudi Arabia giving for Gaza reconstruction?
Well, we are in discussion about that. Still, there is no amount being
It'll be a lot.
named, but
It'll be a lot.
we will definitely help.
Yeah, he's gonna. It's very important to him.
And a quick follow-up, the International Security Force, given your pledge there be no U.S. boots on the ground, what is the U.S. role going to be in that? And how do you sort of ratify the allegations that this could undermine Palestinian sovereignty and even the path to statehood?
Look, I think we're going to get along great with the Palestinians, and we know their leadership. We just had a very, you hate to say war, but it was a war, very, very successful. And you could say really it was on behalf of everybody. We did that on behalf of everybody. And the outcome was extraordinary because we had the best pilots, the best equipment, the best planes, the best everything. And Israel bought the best equipment. They bought it from us. Everything's from us. It all starts here. This office, I was talking to the Crown Prince a little while. You walk into this office for somebody from the outside, the Oval Office, it's the most powerful place in the world. You're standing right now in the most powerful place in the world. And no matter how big you are, these are the biggest people, the richest people. They walk into this office. It's special, isn't it? Look at him. He's so happy to be here. But you walk into this office, it's the Oval Office. And we've done a lot of good with this office. I've stopped actually 8 wars. I appreciated your question before, but I've actually stopped 8 wars. I have another one to go with Putin. I'm a little surprised at Putin. It's taken longer than I thought, but we stopped India and Pakistan. I could go through the list. You know the list better than I do. I'm very proud. And I stopped one that was almost ready to start again. You know, there's one that was ready to start, and they're doing very well. So it all took place right here in the Oval Office, whether by telephone or whether by they came in. Many of these leaders have come in, and they signed their peace deals right here in the Oval Office. So no matter if it's the biggest business people in the world or the greatest leaders in the world, the biggest leaders in the world, like the gentleman on my right, everybody walks into the Oval Office and they say, wow. And now, by the way, the Oval Office is in the kind of condition that it should be in. Whether you look at the walk or the marble floors or anything down the road, we're fixing the White House. And we're building one of the greatest ballrooms ever to be built. You know, we have an event tonight, and we're going to have about 118 people because we have a very small room. For 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom, and now you're going to get a great ballroom. And I have to say, I probably made a lot of enemies because in your honor, we're having a dinner tonight, a beautiful dinner tonight.
Dude, he's
And
so
we have a
uncomfortable.
very small room.
He's
right?
so
It's called East
uncomfortable.
Room. And it's beautiful. It's lovely. But it's like
I
for
agree,
a little
Magnum
cocktail
Norris.
before you go into a ballroom. It's a very small
I
room.
agree.
They wanted a new ballroom for 150 years. We could have sold the big ballroom out 3 times in honor of this gentleman. So I made a lot of enemies because I have a lot of people that are invited tonight or are unable to come because of the size constraint. But you know what we'll do before I leave office? We'll have another dinner because we'll have it ready long before I leave office, and it's going to be beautiful. It's you know, it's a very popular thing what we're doing. And by the way, no government funds. It's all put up private money, all private money. And in the case, I think it's there's a restriction on foreigners. Otherwise, I could have asked you just for a check, okay? But there's a restriction. These are all private individuals that put up a lot of money to build the ballroom. Not one penny is being used from the federal government. So it's really a nice thing. But I look forward to it. I just pointed it out. If this would be a perfect night to have that ballroom open, Susie. If we had that open, we'd have a lot of people very happy. Right now, we have a lot of unhappy people because they all want to be with us tonight to honor this great man. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
All right, so there you have it. Trump holding court, just dressing down reporters in front of the most powerful people in the country. And, you know, you got these, you know, princes sitting there, the prince. It's so funny. And he looked incredibly uncomfortable. So there's that. Okay, so we are currently, is this live right now? Is Marjorie Taylor Greene live right now?
Where does this go from here?
Hang on.
President has already said he will
there's
sign it.
Massey.
That means he will sign the bill that we have here today. Do not change this bill. He is ready to sign it. Give it to him. Put it on his desk. Let's get justice for these victims. With that, I reserve.
The gentleman.
I personally, so here's my take on the Epstein stuff. And by the way, Magnum Norris, thank you for all the super chats. I appreciate it, brother. And everybody else. My take on this whole thing is that this is going to be a massive dud. This whole thing is going to be a massive dud, and nobody is going to be satisfied, and they're going to keep crying about Epstein. That's what's going to happen.
The gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Thank you. And first, let me say how much I admire the courage of my Republican colleagues who are beside me here today. Mr. Speaker, and at the end of the day, this is not about us, and it's not about politics. This is about the.
Let me tell you something else what this is about. In my humble opinion, do you know what this is about? This is their new Me Too movement. That's what this is. This is a virtue signaling opportunity. This is a moment to talk about powerful men and respecting women and respect the victims. It's the same exact NPC language as the Me Too movement. And guess what? None of them cared about this when Biden was in office. No one was talking about it. No one was demanding the release of it. No one cared about the victims. No one was standing out there holding press conferences because, of course, they weren't.
Now, Republican leaders in this House lost control of the story. They lost the ability to hide behind procedure, and they lost the luxury of pretending that they were ever on the right side. The American people see it. Survivors see it, and history will see it. And listening to the Speaker of the House's press conference today.
Big Mike says, I was not. I've never been a big release the Epstein files person. When have I been like waving that flag? I've never been like, I even said like when I started talking about it back when they did their ridiculous influencer thing, I said like, I've never really been big on this, but hey, if there's a list, then yeah, they should release it. Never been that guy because it's just not something I've memed on it, but I've never been passionate about that. I don't give a shit about it. I don't know anything about it. I don't even know if there is a list. I've said that consistently.
Truth. And with that, I yield back.
Members are reminded to refrain from engaging in personalities towards the president. Gentleman yields back. The gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, those of us.
Who is this? Who is this?
Concerned about the victims, or if you, as some are calling them, survivors, as
she is
our
old.
We share contempt for anyone who abused anyone else. I've stood on this floor many times, Mr. Speaker, to speak out for victims and survivors of people who have been abused, and against anyone who breaks the law or takes advantage of an innocent person.
About 200 years.
We will not be characterized as insensitive to that. But what House Republicans, who didn't sign the discharge petition, remain focused on truth, accountability, and delivering real justice for.
Absolutely. I mean, who cares about listening to this old woman? They're trying to destroy MAGA. Fuck that. Stay united and hold the line. Absolutely. That's what this is all about. This is not about victims. This is not about the truth. This is not about anything. This is an anti-Trump movement. That's what it is. And listen, the administration has plenty of faults. But the bottom line is now, regardless of what this ever was, and I do think people like Bongino and Kash Patel and all of that have absolutely been at the forefront of this prior to getting in the positions they were in, because they were talking about this stuff nonstop. But now, whatever it was, it has been completely hijacked by Democrats, because this is really all they have. And there's not, unless and again, I'm clear, there's not this. But what I'm saying is, hypothetically, unless there is a smoking gun against Trump, this will not satisfy any of the people that are screeching and crying about it. It just won't, because they're not looking for information to protect victims or give the victims justice. That's not what is motivating this. They are looking for a smoking gun against Donald Trump. And if there is no smoking gun, which there isn't, then they will always claim that he hid it or he had his name scrubbed or whatever. It's a never-ending cycle. That's what it always is with these freaks. That's what it always is. America 76 is, let's see, was apparently a Monday Night Football ad on this, paid for by Reid Hoffman and Soros. That means it's completely political now. And the goal now is to keep it going as political football. No justice will be seen. Zero justice will be seen. I agree. Zero justice. Jackson becomes a new member. Thank you. Eddie M says, if no victims, free Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't know about that. I mean, I feel like her and Jeffrey Epstein definitely were, that they were held accountable for their crimes. There are victims out there. But the people that we've heard that are grandstanding, like I showed that lady the other day who said all of those Epstein victims were standing there with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey and Gloria Allred, and they were like, we're going to make our own list. And you're like, what does that even mean? What are you talking about? How does that work? And anybody with any common sense realizes how big of a joke that is. So it looks like they are, I think they're set to vote. I want to say it might be in 12 minutes that they're set to vote. It might be. So we shall see. You see Chris Cuomo asked the victim where her list is. I did not see that. We'll keep it there for now. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh, here, hang on.
The clerk will report the title of the bill.
H.R. 4405, a bill to require the Attorney General to release all documents and records in possession of the Department of Justice relating to Jeffrey Epstein and for other purposes.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Jordan, and the gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Raskin, each will control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Ohio.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and to insert extraneous material on H.R. 4405.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
We all support holding bad guys accountable, and we're all going to vote for this resolution. But I think a little perspective is important. Democrats have spent 6 months talking about Epstein, even though they had 4 years to do something about it. Now, why would they do that? Why would they do that? Maybe it's to go after President Trump. Never forget, they shut down the government for 43 days. They said, don't worry about our military. Don't worry about air traffic controllers. Don't worry about our economy. Don't worry about American families. No, no, no. Close the government for a month and a half because it might hurt the president. For the past decade, there's been one constant for Democrats. One constant. Go after Trump. They spied on his campaign. Then it was Mueller. Then it was impeachment 1. Then it was impeachment 2. Then it was all the lawfare. Alvin Bragg, Fonnie Willis, Letitia James. Then it was Arctic Frost investigation at the Justice Department, surveilling United States senators and congressmen and a whole host of other Americans. Then it was Jack Smith and his gag orders and his raiding President Trump's home. Then it was a 43-day shutdown, and now it's Epstein. And by the way, the same party that did all that, they were also the ones who were texting with Mr. Epstein during a hearing where Michael Cohen was their witness in another effort to go after the president. Americans see through it all, and frankly, it's actually kind of sad. This obsession, this syndrome, this mindset that says we got to go after President Trump no matter what that they have. And when I think about it, I think it's because President Trump and Republicans have accomplished so much that they told the voters they were going to accomplish in the 2024 election. We're actually doing what we said we were going to do. President Trump said he was going to cut taxes, and he did. President Trump said he would secure the border, and he did. President Trump said he'd get men out of women's sports, and he did.
Agreed,
President Trump
Magnum
said
Norris.
he would make sure Iran doesn't have nuclear capability, and he did. And he said he would get the hostages out of Gaza back into Israel, and he did. All in 9 months. So I don't know what causes this mindset, this syndrome that the left has, but I know one thing. It is real. Which brings me to last week.
Did he say Israel?
Think about what the Democrats did last week. The Democrats released an email that the Oversight Committee had obtained from the estate. An email from Mr. Epstein to Ms. Maxwell. When the Democrats released it, they redacted the victim's name. Something we all support. Something everyone supports. Except in this case, no court had ordered that name redacted. No agency had redacted it. And the estate didn't redact it. And the victim had already went public. So why black out her name? Why black out her name? Because she had said in her book and had testified under oath that she never saw any wrongdoing by President Trump. So think about what they did. In an email between two criminals, Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell, in an email between two criminals, they hide the name of an individual who had went public and exonerated the president. And we know why. To distort and twist the message because they thought it might harm the president. Their position, cover up the names of people who are already public, but don't worry about other innocent people who the court said should remain private. Again, I think the American people see through it. They see through what the Democrats are doing. The American people know what this is. They know Democrats have nothing else to run on because of the success of this administration. So I say, let's vote yes on this resolution, and then let's get focused on making sure we're doing what the American families elected us to do. With that, I reserve.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you, Mr.
Here
Speaker. I
we
yield
go.
myself such time as it may
Here we go.
consume.
Virtue
Gentleman's
signaling. Get
Today,
ready.
4 months and 3 days
Get
after
ready.
Mr. Khanna and Mr. Massey introduced their discharge petition, perhaps the most famous discharge petition in American history, the People's House unites across party lines to draw a moral line. We draw a line against the rape and sexual violation of children. We draw a line against the global criminal trafficking of girls and young women to service the pleasure of rich and powerful men who believe they are beyond all law and all morality.
Again,
we draw
Me
a
Too
line
movement
to
all
put
over
the
again.
voices of
Me
the
Too movement
victims
language.
and the survivors first.
That's all it is.
We ask the Senate to join us without changes rather than obstruct this bill with dilatory amendments, legislative graffiti, and self-dealing million-dollar jackpot provisions for lucky senators. Just pass the bill. We're finally voting today because a bipartisan discharge petition led by Representatives Massey and Khanna and signed by 218 of us overthrew the determined obstruction of the Speaker. This forced vote means the House will no longer acquiesce in this astonishing real-time cover-up of a multi-billion-dollar global sex trafficking and child rape ring that has ravaged the lives of more than 1,000 girls and young women. We're here today because these victims, these survivors, these citizens, these inspiring women who have come to Washington are demanding nothing less than justice and the complete truth about who is responsible for their vicious abuse, including those responsible for enabling it, ignoring it, bankrolling it, and covering it up. We join them today in rejecting any more dangerous lies about the crimes they suffered. No, child sex abuse is not a hoax. It's a crime. Human trafficking is not a hoax. It's a crime. These crimes are a curse on children and young people across America, in universities and elementary schools, in churches and mosques and synagogues, in Boy Scout troops and college sports teams and summer camps. Anywhere the powerful and the rich believe they've got the opportunity and the impunity to exploit the young, the poor, the powerless, and the vulnerable. We must face the truth and find the co-conspirators still at large in one of America's most extensive and sophisticated sex trafficking and child abuse rings in history. Release of the file will expose the role of everybody who facilitated and covered up these crimes, like J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Deutsche Bank, and Bank of New York Mellon, which executed billions of dollars in transactions related to these offenses, as well as any bank executives who participated in the sexual abuse of girls and young women. We must expose everyone who covered up these crimes, like Alex Acosta, the former U.S. attorney in Miami, Donald Trump's labor secretary, who gave Jeffrey Epstein an unbelievable sweetheart plea deal, immunized the unnamed conspirators, and killed an investigation into Epstein's financial crimes that could have brought down the entire criminal network. And with that, I'm going to yield. I'll reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 4 minutes to the distinguished chair of the House Oversight Committee, Mr. Comer, the gentleman from Kentucky.
The gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As chairman of the House Oversight Committee, I've always believed that sunshine is the best disinfectant. For years, the American people have demanded transparency about Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's horrific crimes and about the federal government's failure to protect the victims. The House Oversight Committee is conducting a thorough review of the federal government's investigation into Epstein. Our work goes far beyond the legislation before us today. We are committed to accountability, transparency, and justice for the American people and for the survivors of these appalling crimes. To date, the Oversight Committee has released more than 65,000 pages of documents, issued 13 subpoenas, and conducted interviews with 2 key witnesses, both of whom.
Somebody in the chats. Good Lord. Not you. Thank you for the super chats. Hang on. Wait, Jeremy thinks Epstein wasn't real like Me Too. Yes, you caught me. I think Jeffrey Epstein is a made-up individual. I think that he's a figment of our imagination. I don't think he ever existed. That's what I said. Fucking hell, dude. What planet do you live on that you think that's what I said? Yes, Epstein is like the Easter Bunny, okay? He was just made up. He's just made up for our imaginations. He never existed. Just like Hassan Piker's dog never existed. That's what I said. Jeez. The ability to compartmentalize and understand things is lost on the internet. Fucking hell. Magnor says, wasn't it Bill and Dims in bed with this dude? This guy's a complete liar. 1,000%. 1,000%. So I can clarify for you, sir, the outrage over the Epstein situation is fake. None of these motherfuckers cared about Epstein. None of them have been fighting to release the files unless Trump is their target. They never talked about it when Biden was in office. There was never a movement to talk about it when Biden was in office. It is a made-up virtue signal in order to target President Trump now. It is something that leftist politicians and rhinos are pretending to care about. They never cared about it until they could blame it on Trump, until they could key in on Trump. If they cared this much about it, they would have dealt with it when Biden was in office, but they didn't. Therefore, it's made up. Magdanor says, yes, dude, all of your friends that went to the island, you liar, talking about these clowns. Absolutely. Politics is tiresome, says John Jones. Giggity says, the Dems held the files for 4 years. The files are scrubbed. The truth is buried with Epstein as they hoped. And that's why I think like there's nothing going to come from this list that's going to satisfy the people that are crying about this list. Nothing. There's not one single thing that's going to come from it. They're still going to be upset. Exactly. They could have done this years ago. Fuck. Here's your retard tax. What a grift. Dude, when you can grift your own stupidity like I do, it is a wonderful, wonderful thing. It really is. So right now they're arguing their points. Democrats come up there, grandstand. Republicans come up there and counter grandstand, and then Democrats respond with another grandstand. It's all a pissing contest right now. It's all for optics. It's all to essentially what this is for is to please all of their constituents right here. That's what they're doing. So when these guys go and they're up for re-election, they can go to their local voters and be like, I fought for this. Just so you know, I stood up in front of the House and I fought for this. And even if it didn't happen, I personally fought for it. So you need to vote for me so you can give me more money. That's what this is all about. This is all of this is bullshit. Regardless if you agree with what any of them are saying or not, it's all bullshit. Every single thing that you're hearing right now is 1,000% bullshit, grandstanding, political bullshit. That's it. But it is entertaining to watch them.
From Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we found in the last document batch. The files underscore why former President Trump must appear for his deposition. We've subpoenaed him. To date, the Democrats have done nothing to help us secure his appearance. I support full transparency. The Oversight Committee will continue to work to get the truth to the American people and to get justice for the victims. That's our goal of this investigation. With that, I yield back.
The gentleman yields back.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, we reserve.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I should just point out that we've heard now from the two distinguished chairmen of the Judiciary and the Oversight Committee, and they've spoken almost exclusively to denounce Democrats. We have a bipartisan coalition here demanding the truth about the largest child sex abuse and trafficking ring, perhaps in American history, certainly in this century, and they want to just throw stones at the Democrats. What a remarkable failure of leadership we're seeing from the other side. And I imagine that the chairman of the Oversight Committee will follow up his spectacular failure in trying to impeach.
Oh, shut up. Shut up. John Jones says, bring back physical fights in Congress, add UFC style octagon in there. The chances, Jeremy, did you see Trump's quiet piggy response? I did. We have a short of that on this channel. Oh, look who it is.
Republicans and certainly the chairman of our committee finally wanting transparency on this issue. It is time to end this White House cover-up now. Now, we know that Donald Trump has tried everything to kill our Jeffrey Epstein investigation, and he's failed. And now he's panicking. He's about to lose his Epstein vote to force the Department of Justice to release the files. And let's be crystal clear. Trump has the power to release the files today. He does not even need a vote. And he continues to defy the subpoena of the Oversight Committee to release all the files. What is Donald Trump hiding? What is Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, hiding? Why won't they release the Epstein files right now?
Why didn't Biden?
Must explain to the public why he moved sex trafficker and monster Ghislaine Maxwell to a cushy, low-security prison after her interview with Trump's personal lawyer. He should declare, and every Republican should say, that she does not deserve a pardon or commutation.
The gentleman's time has expired.
I grant him 20 more seconds. We don't care how much money you have, what party you're in, how powerful you are. We should get justice for the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein. And our work on the committee is not over. Next up are the bank and financial records to follow and expose Epstein's network. Today, there should be a unanimous vote on releasing the files, and we will get justice. And with that, I yield back. And we reserve.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield a minute and a half to the distinguished gentleman from California and member of the Judiciary Committee, Mr. Kiley.
The gentleman from California is recognized.
I have consistently called for the maximum possible level of transparency when it comes to the heinous crimes of Jeffrey Epstein. That's why I've consistently said I am inclined to vote for this bill, and it's why I will be doing so today. The victims deserve the truth. They deserve justice, and they deserve closure. For months, they've had to wake up every day and see the name of their tormentor on the front page of every newspaper, on every TV channel, as has the broader American public. This issue has been so politicized by so many people in so many ways, which is deeply unfortunate when we're talking about matters of the highest sensitivity.
Somebody said disparu.
That the passage of this resolution today, together with the work of the Oversight Committee, will lead to the expeditious release of all pertinent material so that we can move on. Let's get accountability, let's get answers, and let's get this over with. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman reserves.
Yeah, we reserve.
The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
I yield 1 minute to the very distinguished gentlelady from
or
Washington,
the other guy?
member of the Judiciary Committee.
The gentlelady from Washington is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, thousands of girls, children, were abused by Jeffrey Epstein and his massive and powerful ring of pedophiles and protectors of pedophiles. We can't say all their names here. We don't have time. But let's at least bring a few of the courageous survivors and their names onto the House floor right here as we debate this. Haley Robson, Jenna Lisa Jones, Michelle Licata, Ashley Rubright, Annie Farmer, Marina Lacerda, Rachel Benavides. These women have carried a burden that they never should have had to bear. And today they demand, we demand.
Hey guys, they carried a burden for so long, and we, the Democrats, we just made them wait for 4 years until we could get Trump back in office before we decided we were going to give them justice. Because we're so good. Us Democrats are so good. We never cared when Biden was in office to find this justice. We never cared about this so passionately while Biden was in office. Nope, not at all.
Release
The gentlelady's time has
all
expired.
the damn files now.
She wants a clip.
The gentleman reserves.
She wants a clip. That's why that, oh my God, that was cringe.
North Carolina and member of our committee.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have been very supportive of this effort, specifically to bring justice to the victims of this horrific series of crimes. However, I have worked behind the scenes to raise concerns with this petition as it is currently drafted. Specifically, I believe that there is grave risk at harming innocent people. And I repeat, harming innocent people. When innocent people
Thank
are
you, Heavy
harmed,
D.
that is not furthering justice. With an investigation of this size and a file that is as large as the Epstein files and as poorly defined as that is in this petition, there will invariably be people who are released pursuant to this discharge petition who had nothing to do with criminal activity. Imagine, if you will, a bellman, a waiter, some type of doorman, a mere social attendee who had no impact whatsoever on the criminal activities of Jeffrey Epstein, no participation. Their lives are forever ruined. And I'm reading specifically from the petition's language that prohibited grounds for withholding information in this file are embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. And I would just submit, if you were going to be embarrassed, if you were going to suffer social harm, and that is all of the encompassed activity that you were a part of, you will be named in this petition. And I resent that. Innocent people should not be harmed when we are pursuing justice. I understand the political nature of this petition. I resent the fact that there was not room for good faith amendments. And I urge the Senate to protect innocent people. I yield back.
Yields back. The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you. I'm yielding 1 minute to the distinguished gentlelady from California, Representative Kamlager-Duff.
The gentlelady from California is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, 1 in 3 women and girls around the world are physically and sexually assaulted each year. Of the 152 women in this body, that means 51 women. It includes your daughters, your sisters, your nieces, your mothers. And with the Epstein files, we have a chance to change that. But real talk, the administration doesn't need a discharge petition. It has not complied with the subpoena, and it has the power to release the files today. Instead, the man in the most powerful position in the world has used the full weight of the government to block and obfuscate and deflect the full release of the files. It is the same person who intimidated female members of Congress to withdraw names from the petition, who responded quiet piggy to a female reporter who asked about the files, and who nominated an alleged sexual predator to be our AG. It is the same person whose name appears more than any other in the Epstein emails. Is the worst of the worst, so why protect him? It's also curious that the judiciary is managing this debate and has not even had this come before the committee. I wonder why. Release the files now.
We reserve. The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Roy, chairman of the Constitution Subcommittee.
The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
I thank the chairman. Today, a united Republican Party and a bipartisan supermajority is going to pass a bill to increase transparency regarding the egregious abuses by Jeffrey Epstein, a goal that anyone of conscience desires. That is, in totality, an important statement to check the rich and the powerful. Remember how we got here. After decades, it was President Trump's Department of Justice that indicted Jeffrey Epstein in July of 2019. It was President Trump's DOJ that arrested and indicted Ms. Maxwell. It was the Republican-led Oversight Committee, through 13 subpoenas, that has released 65,000 pages of files in just 10 months. Meanwhile, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have largely ignored this issue. It was Democrats who redacted an email to mislead the American people about the truth of a witness that exonerated President Trump. It was a Democrat, Representative Placette, who literally texted with Jeffrey Epstein as we questioned Michael Cohen. It was Democrats who shut down the government, resulting in the delay of swearing in of members. As we vote to pass this legislation, and it will pass, it is impossible, however, to avoid problems with its politicization. One colleague has offensively gone so far as to say that to oppose this bill means you support pedophiles. Yet I know good public servants, former law enforcement, former prosecutors who never knew Epstein, never knew any visitors to his criminal enterprise, who have genuine concerns about supporting this bill out of fear of creating new victims or harming existing victims, or both. That is what we've reduced Congress to, inserting itself into the prosecutorial process for political motivations driven heavily by hatred of President Trump. We should be concerned about victim privacy, concerned about risking disclosure of non-credible allegations, of child sexual abuse materials, future investigations. But here's the deal. The leaders of this nation must expose abuses by the rich and the powerful. That is why President Trump and the House have been working for full transparency. But we should be motivated by truth and justice for all, not politics. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you. I yield 1 minute to the distinguished gentlelady from Massachusetts, Representative Clark, the minority whip.
The gentlelady is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This should be an easy vote. This is about justice for the victims and survivors of Jeffrey Epstein. This is about every victim of trafficking and sexual abuse, monstrous crimes that thrive in secrecy and fear. Yet instead of shining a light on that darkness, just moments ago, Donald Trump defended the continued obstruction of releasing these files. Even as House Republicans prepare to vote yes today, Speaker Johnson is calling this a show vote. He's calling it dangerous. He is signaling the U.S. Senate to block it. Republicans continue to use their power to shield rich pedophiles from justice. If you can't stand up for these survivors, how can anyone trust you to stand up for them? I yield back.
The gentlelady yields back.
We yield.
The gentleman reserves. Does the gentleman reserve?
Yeah, we reserve.
The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
We reserve.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Yes, just very quickly, what happened under the Biden administration? Well, under the Biden administration, Ghislaine Maxwell was prosecuted for conspiring to sexually abuse and traffic girls in 2020. Right when it's in 2021, she was convicted. In December of 2021, after a month-long trial in Judge Nathan's courtroom, in 2022, Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years in prison under the Biden administration for sex trafficking and sexual abuse of minors. But when President Trump took office in January of 2025, they killed the investigation. They assembled all the materials, they got all the prosecutors together, and they terminated the investigation. I yield 1 minute to the distinguished gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Raja Krishnamurthy.
The gentleman from Illinois is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in strong support to release the Epstein files. First, this issue is beyond party. It's a question of justice. Survivors have waited too long. Stop the delay. This is not a hoax. Release the files. Second, we must face a hard truth. Silence that shields the powerful is a betrayal of those they hurt. Congress must reject any attempt, including a presidential pardon or any form of clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell. This cannot be done. This would be a cover-up. We cannot allow clemency of any kind for Maxwell, not now, not ever. Survivors deserve justice. I urge a strong yes vote. Thank you.
Yields back.
I want to thank the gentleman for his eloquent remarks. Pardons are for people who are contrite. Pardons are for people who are repentant. Pardons are not for people who lie. Every member of this body should immediately, verbally, vocally denounce the idea of clemency, commutation.
You are correct, Gremlin. Trump was the only powerful person that was willing to work with the authorities. There's video of it where this attorney, I believe, says that of all the people involved, Trump, this was a long time ago. It was before Trump was even like running for president, I think. He was the only one that was willing to work with them. He's the only one that took a phone call. He's the only one that said like, hey, I'll help you, yada, yada, yada. So of course he is. And again, this is laughable what we're hearing right now.
Refuse to be silenced, and today they have pierced
What
the dark with their
the
light.
fuck is that?
Anytime any girl is trafficked, molested, or abused, the world must stand up. Today, the House proves Jeffrey Epstein wrong. The Senate must do the same tomorrow.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from California. 1.5 minutes to the gentleman from California.
The gentleman from California is recognized.
I thank you, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, a minute and a half or an hour, the words would still have to be the same. We've all said that this will pass the House, perhaps unanimously today. I think all of us who have looked at the details of this particular bill know that it is flawed.
On Gremlin Super Chat, let me show you guys this because let's see. This is what Gremlin was talking about right here. This clip.
The only thing that I can say about President Trump
he was
is
president
that
at the
he
time.
is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a
Okay, so he was president at the time of this recording, but he was not at the time of the interaction. So that's what it is. So this is a conversation this guy had with Trump in 2009 before he was even close to getting involved in politics.
The only thing that I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009.
There you go, right there. But, you know, I was told by very trustworthy people on Twitter that Trump is guilty, guys.
Bill, as we
Trump's got so much to hide, guys. He's got so much to hide. John Jones says, today, Junior. Jay Hamilton says, Trump could have avoided all of this by just releasing them in the first place. He deserves blame for this debacle. You don't understand what the fuck Trump's reasoning for not releasing them is, because Trump knows that this is not about the victims. This is about weaponizing something that the Democrats have not cared about at all. If they fucking cared about it, why didn't Biden release it? Trump understands that this is going to be used to go after innocent people. It's not about the fucking victims. It's not about the truth. It's not about human trafficking. It never has been. That's what you don't understand. Fucking listen to me. I'm a stupid motherfucker, and I've got more common sense than anybody else that's talking about this, apparently. Salty Bot says the fake pearl clutching from the Democrats is pathetic. I also said this is why I criticized the Trump administration for the ridiculous Pam Bondi stunt. And that's why I said that falls on Trump and J.D. Vance. The ridiculous Pam Bondi stunt was incredibly dumb. It was unbelievably stupid. I don't understand what they were thinking when they did that. I don't know why Trump allowed that to happen. Whether he approved it directly or not, he still is the president. He's responsible for that. So I don't know if Pam Bondi went rogue and did that because she thought it was going to get her brownie points. I don't know, but it was a horrible decision, an embarrassing decision. But Trump is on record saying there are a lot of people that could be, hurt by this that have nothing to do with this. And that's something we have to take into account. And again, if the Democrats cared about it, if it's so vital, if it's so important, if it's so simple, if it's so easy, why didn't they? And when I say why didn't Biden release it, why didn't Barack Hussein Obama release it when Joe Biden was president? Because we all know that Joe Biden wasn't actually making any decisions, which makes it even worse. Because all of these high-ranking Democrats who had all of this influence within the Biden administration, because we know Joe Biden wasn't running anything, all of these high-ranking Democrats could have released the Epstein files then and there. Why didn't they do it? Why didn't they do it?
See that as genuine. What I see is a group more focused on scoring political points and drama than of protecting abused children. The record is clear. Under Republicans, far more information has been released in the last 6 months than was done during all 4 years of the previous presidency under Joe Biden. We've actually been the party of transparency. We've released the information. We've told the truth. Unfortunately, and I'm sad to say it, they have been the party of hypocrisy. Mr. Chair, I reel back.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
I've never heard a more defensive presentation in my life than what we're hearing from over there. The gentleman should spend a little less time pointing out hypocrisy and a little more time trying to ferret out cruelty, humiliation, and rape And that's what we're working on. I yield 30 seconds to the distinguished gentleman from California, Mr. Mint.
The gentleman from California is recognized.
I want to remind you that we are all here voting on this bill because President Trump, who has the power to release the Epstein files at any time, has refused to do so, calling this a hoax. We're here because...
What the hell is Phil doing there? Phil, you're supposed to be on Main Event tonight. What the hell are you doing right there? What the hell's going on?
over 40 days and threatening House Republicans who signed on. Now, several of my Republican colleagues have accused those of us House Democrats who support justice here of having Trump derangement syndrome. You all suffer from something much worse, which is pedophile protection syndrome. Stop protecting pedophiles, release the Epstein files. The victims deserve justice. I yield back.
We reserve.
Members are reminded to direct their comments to the chair.
No kidding.
The
No.
gentleman from Maryland reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
We reserve.
The gentleman from Ohio reserves. The gentleman from Maryland.
I'm yielding 30 seconds to my friend, Representative Walkinshaw from Virginia.
The gentleman is recognized.
For years, Mr. Speaker, we have watched dangerous conspiracies like Pizzagate and QAnon shape our political landscape. They help fuel the rise of President.
Who let iDubbbz in here? What the hell's iDubbbz doing in here?
Rings, while the real documented case of child sex trafficking involving Jeffrey Epstein remains shrouded in secrecy because President Trump refuses to release the files. What is President Trump hiding? Why won't he release the files? The House finally has the opportunity to act, release the files, and let the American people see the truth. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back.
We reserve.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Reserve.
Gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Granting 30 seconds to the very distinguished gentlelady who is finally with us, Representative Adelita Grijalva from Arizona 7th.
The gentlelady is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to acknowledge the survivors, family members, and advocates who are here today and have never given up. The legislation in front of us, at its core, is about something very simple. The survivors deserve justice. The American people deserve the truth. To every survivor watching, your courage is inspiring. You are the reason why this vote is happening today. Protecting women and children from pedophiles should not be a Democratic issue, should not be a Republican issue. It should be a human rights issue and a matter of justice. I urge my colleagues to vote yes on the Epstein Files Transparency Act. I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you, and we reserve.
The chair will remind all persons in the gallery that they are here as guests of the House and that any manifestation of approval or disapproval of proceedings is in violation of the rules of the House. The gentleman from Maryland.
Yeah, but I'll just add, they're here as honored guests of the House, and we're delighted they're here, and with that, we reserve.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Yeah, we reserve.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Maryland.
I'm granting 30 seconds to Representative Lois Franco from Florida.
The gentlelady from Florida is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, for far too long, the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse were failed by a justice system that minimized their suffering and prosecutors who treated young girls as if they were criminals. That was wrong, and I am here with my colleagues to promise this. We will get to the bottom of why the Epstein survivors were treated so badly, who made those decisions, and who were they protecting. No more secrecy, no more excuses. We all deserve the truth, and I thank the survivors for their courage and perseverance. Your voices are being heard.
The gentlelady yields back. The gentleman
we
reserves the balance of his time. The gentleman from Ohio.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 1 minute to the distinguished gentleman from the great state of Louisiana, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, Mr.
The gentleman from Louisiana is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Chairman Jordan, for doing such an extraordinary job on all of this. For 43 long days, the Democrats held this House and the entire country hostage. Finally, with the lights back on, this body's returning to our regular legislative session. We have a lot of work to do. My colleagues on this side of the chamber are ready and eager to get back to our urgent legislative work that we promised the American people we would do. We've got to continue lowering the cost of health care. We've got to bring down prices for American families. We've got to finish the regular appropriations process, just to name a few of those priorities. And I wish I could say that our first order of business would be to get to those urgent priorities, but of course we're here spending time on the floor about something else. This is something we could have resolved last week when we brought a unanimous consent to pass this discharge with the full support of the body. But Our friends over here who are arguing today stalled that. They objected to it, and they wanted to have this exercise instead. And that's why we say that this is a show vote. That's what this is. They're making a show of it. And it really is a shame. We have some heroic women in the chamber today. I met with many of them a while back. They're in the gallery here. They have come forward. They have shown their faces. They've used their names to share the unspeakable tragedies that many of them were subjected to, some of them when they were very young. And it is a heroic service to the country. They are seeking justice, and the justice has been delayed for too long. The Department of Justice, many years ago, should have brought these charges. It took too long to do it. And now we're in this process of making sure all the American people get the information, but we have to do it in the right way, After 4 years of Democrat control under President Biden, they were not truthful with us about a lot of things. The Democrats insisted the border was secure. We knew it wasn't. They insisted that inflation was transitory. We knew it wouldn't be. They misled the American people about the obvious mental and physical decline of the previous commander-in-chief. And now those same Democrats are demanding transparency. Suddenly, transparency is their new word. Out of nowhere, they've taken a curious concern in the Epstein investigation, all in the name of that, in the name of transparency. But the question has been asked here many times during the debate on the floor, and everybody questioning why it is that Democrats have done this right now have to look at the obvious facts. The Democrats had all the Epstein files in their possession for 4 long years under the Biden presidency.
Well, I mean, at this point, my sarcasm is so good, I'm not sure if I work for Israel at this point or not. I really don't know. I've memed on it so much now, so I'm really not even sure. I don't think I do, but I'm really not sure at this point. So it's working on me as well. I truly don't even know. And yeah, today we learned that Epstein never existed, just like Hassan Piker's dog. He never existed. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So, oh God, so funny. The internet's a wild place, man. So we're just having fun with it. Jeremy psyoped himself.
Deceitful and dishonest, as their pointless stunt was to shut the government down. Democrats are using the Epstein tragedy, the unspeakable evils that this guy committed with his trafficking ring and all of the abuses that they made these young women go through. They're using that as a political weapon to try to distract from their failures as a party and to try their best to try to tie President Trump somehow into this wretched scandal. The president had nothing to do with it. He's been very clear, and he has nothing to hide, and that's why he's endorsed the vote today. I suspect this vote will be probably unanimous. But here's the important point that everybody needs to understand. We have been advocates of maximum transparency, but we have also insisted that the victims be carefully protected. The Oversight Committee has been doing extraordinary work, and we've got some of the most vigorous advocates.
That's what I'm talking about.
On the Republican and Democrat side on the Oversight Committee. They've been working in earnest to deliver transparency for the American people and to do it in a responsible manner. What do we mean by that? The bipartisan effort over there is already producing all the results that the discharge petition seeks and much, much more. Chairman Comer and all of these advocates over there have been releasing thousands of documents, for example, from the Epstein estate. By the way, in my view, that's been the greatest treasure trove of information because it's yielded for us Epstein's own personal flight logs, his financial records, his daily calendars, and so much more. But importantly, none of that was addressed or is addressed in the legislation that's being voted on today. The estate files wouldn't even have been encompassed in that. And so it goes to show that the Oversight Committee is doing it from the right way. From the very beginning, we've been insistent that this matter be handled carefully and with the utmost caution and care for the people who have been harmed. They should not be made to suffer any longer. We're talking about real people's lives at stake here and young victims who don't want to be dragged into this political game that could get hurt further. But the Democrats are rushing the release of thousands of unsubstantiated documents that may be included in this, that are going to be in the public domain with the passage of this bill. And there are serious deficiencies in the legislation that I have noted at length, and Republicans have to work to address those deficiencies in the Senate if and when this legislation is advanced. I stood before the American public today at our press conference, and I explained in detail the dangers of the discharge petition. We have posted at my website, speaker.gov, a summary. The legal counsel, a small army of lawyers, put this together. I used to be a federal court litigator. Many of my colleagues who've spoken today were. We understand the dangers of how this was haphazardly drawn up.
That's where I'm at with it. I don't think people are going to be happy. As a matter of fact, I know people are not going to be happy. I'm almost willing to guarantee that people are not going to be happy with whatever gets released. They're just not. And we're just going to end up in the same nonsensical cycle over and over and over and over again. So I think that we're just going to hear about the Epstein files for the rest of the time. That's what I think. Because no matter what gets released, there will be a narrative built around it in whatever direction. And that's just, it is what it is. So NDI says, it's like the Microsoft guy, developers, survivors. Also, I would never thank people if I was in politics. I hate that. Rolling for 20 says Jeremy continuously proves that there is an I in Alabama. His family tree looks like a broomstick. I tagged you on my latest video since I gave you a shout out in it. I hope this feels more natural than me being nice to you. As long as you're sending me money, I'm okay with you being nice to me. I'd rather you be mean to me, though. But either way, I'm okay with it. Thank you, Roland. Hail to you, brother. Heavy D says, I see that smoke show behind the speaker. And then she left. As soon as you sent the super chat, she left. Damn it. Oh, she's back. And she left again. Damn it. Oh, well. Now we got to listen to Mike Johnson.
And they deserve to be protected. Republicans support transparency. We want maximum transparency, especially when it comes to disclosing the names of anybody who had anything to do with these evils, anybody who conspired with or aided in any way Jeffrey Epstein. They must be brought to justice. We want the bill to be amended so it doesn't, at the same time, violate victim privacy, create new victims, disclose the names of any whistleblower or informant, cause the release of grand jury materials or child sexual abuse materials, or undermine our national security. And if and when the Senate takes this up, we will work with our colleagues over there to make sure that these things are corrected. I'll just close with this this simple thought. We've been at this a while. It's drug on for a while, but
that's a damn good question.
It's time for this to come to light.
It's a damn good question.
I expect it.
What the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing?
And it will reflect what I think every member in this chamber, and I'll say this now, at least in recent days, every member of the chamber on the Democrat side, they didn't say anything for 4 years, but they're for maximum transparency now, and so is this side. But we want to do it in a...
Chat is going freaking crazy. This thing got a whole lot less serious. Absolutely, dude. What the hell is this?
All my members today, I'll be voting yes on this, and I suspect almost everyone will. We'll send it to the Senate, and we hope it's corrected. Thank you for the time, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
Gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
I'm yielding to Mr. Gomez for the sole purpose of making a parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Gomez is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask a point of parliamentary inquiry. Is this an appropriate time to point out that the Republicans named children's savings account in their so-called one big beautiful bill after Donald Trump, someone connected to one of the most notorious pedophiles in this country, or that the Speaker of the House just lied on the floor by stating that there was protection, there isn't protections for the victims in the Epstein bill.
The gentleman is no longer recognized. The gentleman from Maryland, you are recognized.
Get him out. Get him out.
I'm prepared to close. I've got no more speakers on my side.
The gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What up, Jay?
No.
Hey guys,
Gentleman from Ohio
can you guys
has 30 seconds.
Can you guys send me super chats? Because Jay literally ignored my message yesterday. I sent Jay a message at 2:53 p.m. Central, and he still has not responded to me. Can you believe that? Can you believe that?
Take 30 his.
We reserve. Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
I'll take the opportunity of the Speaker's presence to respond to some of the things that he said. In the very presence of the victims and the survivors who come to join us today, the Speaker said that now would be a time we should be working on urgent legislative work. Mr. Speaker, justice is urgent legislative work. The truth is urgent legislative work.
Release the retro game file.
The Speaker says, why now? Why now? Well, Mr. Speaker, you were the one who refused to swear in Adelita Grajova for 50 days. We would have done it 50 days ago, but she provided the 218th signature on the discharge petition. So why now? It was because of your dilatory tactics, your delay, your postponement of it. Now, the gentleman says that there are not sufficient protections. There are protections in the bill for the victims to make sure that their names will be redacted. And yet we hear even the Speaker of the House of Representatives openly inviting the U.S. Senate to start finger painting on this bill, which we have waited more than 5 months to bring to the floor. The Senate should pass the bill exactly as it's written. The president should sign it exactly as he said he would when he finally changed his mind. And the Epstein file must be released. Moreover, if the president is serious about what he's saying, he's got the power to release the Epstein file right now. Nobody's stopping him. It's within his possession. It's within his control. He can release the whole thing, and he can redact the names of the victims and others who are innocent in this process. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Beaker.
Speaker Johnson said that these are unspeakable evils. Well, because of the bravery and the invincible courage of the women who've joined us today, they're no longer unspeakable. They're spoken. They're articulated. The cat is out of the bag, and we know what's been going on for decades. It's been a double standard of justice, going all the way back to Alex Acosta, who later got rewarded with a cabinet appointment in the Trump administration. Alex Acosta had a 60-count federal indictment ready to go against all kinds of people for an interstate sex trafficking conspiracy with solicitation, with child sex abuse, all of it. And he traded that 60-count federal indictment for 1 count in state court. And Jeffrey Epstein ended up getting the sweetest of sweetheart deals ever on the plea bargain front. He was free from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. to do whatever he wanted and continuing to perpetrate his crimes and run his conspiracy. And then he would come and he would watch TV and spend the night in jail. And it was over in about a year after the rape and sexual abuse of hundreds and hundreds of girls. And he kept going and he kept at it. We want the whole truth to come out. This is the United States of America. Even the British monarchy wouldn't put up with this. How about the American democracy? How about we say, no way, we're not going to allow this cover-up to go on for 1 day more. And I'm glad the president changed his mind after pulling out all the stops to try to get one of our Republican colleagues to change their mind, to remove their name from the discharge petition. He gave up. And I want to salute the gentlelady from Colorado from having the courage to stand her ground in the Situation Room.
To be fair, I've only gotten a couple $2 super chats, Jay, so you don't have the same pull you used to have, apparently. So that's not my fault, I guess.
Mr. President, you've got the power today to release the entire file. That's what you called for. That's what Pam Bondi called for. That's what Kash Patel called for. So we don't need anybody calling for the Senate to slow things down for more weeks and more months. The American people have had it. We'll reserve.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman is reminded to direct your comments to the chair and not your colleagues. Gentleman from Ohio is recognized, and you do have 90 seconds remaining. Correction.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 30 seconds to the gentleman from Texas.
Gentleman from Texas is recognized.
The Democrat Party, with help from the dishonest media, used the Epstein files not to seek justice for the victims, but to smear President Trump. And it's sickening, quite sickening. The Democrats have used the Epstein files to distract the American people from the wins President Trump and his administration have delivered for the American people for the last 11 months. I'm proud to work with my Republican colleagues on the House Oversight Committee in coordination with the Justice Department. 65,000 pages of documents are related from Epstein release. What have my Democrat colleagues done? They selectively leaked and altered documents to mislead the American people. As President Trump has stated, we have nothing to hide here. I'm voting to release the files so that we can move on from this smear campaign the Democrats have manufactured. God bless.
Gentleman's
Donald J.
time has
Trump.
expired. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Ohio reserves. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
All right. How much time do I have to close?
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank all of America for tuning in to this. I want to thank Representatives Massey and Khanna, Representative Green, all of those who have insisted upon bringing the truth forward.
Yeah, go ahead and thank
a
them.
reckoning with the reality of
How could Jay do this? Jeremy is under attack. Hashtag justice for Jeremy. He forced me to send this.
attendant to it. We've got the opportunity today to do justice for the victims, for the survivors who have come forward to say that the voice of the victims and the survivors must be put at the very center of our deliberations, not shunted off to the side, not submerged, not subordinated, but put at the very center. We must hear from the people who themselves were victimized by this nightmare. Now, our colleagues across the aisle seem to want to make this into some sort of partisan contest. I haven't heard so much talk about the Democrats since the Democratic National Convention. And all that we've done here is to say we want to bring the truth forward along with a bipartisan group. We don't want the Senate monkeying around with this in order to slow things down. We want it passed in the Senate. We want it signed. And before that, if the president is true to his word and he wants to see all of this come to light, he can release it now instead of fighting, kicking, and screaming every step along the way. But I'm glad he's changed his mind, and I hope he maintains the momentum he's got to stick with the vast majority of the American people who want to see that the truth is done here. And while he's at it, the administration could reconsider their terrible policies, gutting federal offices and programs designed to combat violence against women. The DOJ terminated hundreds of grants to police departments, defunding the police when it comes to investigating violent sex crimes and to support victims. His Doge destroyed programs to combat international human trafficking rings. Let's get back on the side of the women. I yield back.
Don't get too excited, chat. That's literally like $2.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay? That's
Thank
like
you,
a
Mr. Speaker.
$2 super
The Speaker
chat.
Johnson said it right. Why
It's
now
not
after
that
4 years
good.
of doing nothing?
Uh-oh.
Because going after President Trump is an obsession with these guys. Best example is John Brennan testified in front of our committee under oath, said he was not involved with the dossier. Only problem is Tulsi Gabbard declassified a report, released that report, and it said exactly the opposite. And she related a story in there where a CIA official went up to Mr. Brennan and said, we shouldn't include this in the report. And John Brennan's response was, yeah, but doesn't it ring true? Forget the facts, forget the truth, go after Trump, put it in. Same dynamic at work here. We're all for protecting innocent victims. We're all for exposing the bad guys who did bad things. But this is an obsession with the left. For 10 years, it's going after President Trump. So vote yes. Make sure the bad guys are held accountable. We all want to do that. Speaker Johnson's right. I think it's going to be unanimous. But understand what they're doing, because they had 4 years and didn't do a darn thing. With that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The question is, will the House suspend the rules and pass the bill H.R. 4405? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended. The bill is passed. And without
Can I request a recorded
objection,
vote, Mr. Speaker?
The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Yeah, I'm requesting a recorded vote.
The gentleman from Maryland has requested a recorded vote. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. Pursuant to Clause 9 of Rule 20, this 15-minute vote on the motion to suspend the rules will be followed by 5-minute votes on ordering the previous question on House Resolution 879, adoption of House Resolution 879 if ordered, and adoption of House Resolution 878. This is a 15-minute vote.
It was already passed. Good Lord. He just slowed it down. What about the victims? Good Lord. This is so dumb. This is so dumb. Wait, the government isn't working efficiently? I know, it's crazy. Cole Hauser says, yo, what's happening, Jeremy? Jay is a good guy. Look at that. It's so nice. That's so nice. Look at that. Good Lord. What an embarrassment this is. Absolute embarrassment. It's already going to be like, I think it's going to be unanimous. They're just weaponizing it at this point now. River Mile says, House Resolution 199, hell to the yeah. Hell to the yeah. Cam Man says, this is our tax dollars really pay for it. 100%, man. I told you this is nothing but grandstanding and virtue signaling. That's all this is. That's all this is. Infinity Flare says they keep saying this is not a hoax. Every time I hear Dim say that, it always turns out to be a hoax. Yep. Every time. So here, right now, we have no nays at this point in time. God, what a joke. This is how they get a smoke break. The chat says, release to Jeremy files. He has a lot to say, I bet. MAGA morons are running scared, says somebody in my chat. Oh, yeah. You see them? All the MAGA morons are voting yes. They're running scared. Oh, man. We're so scared of the Epstein files. Ooh. The Epstein files are going to be released. And guess what? You're going to learn anything substantial, and you're still going to be crying. So here's what my prediction is. Okay? My prediction is they're going to release the Epstein files. It's going to be a bunch of nothing. And then people are going to claim that Trump scrubbed his name from the files. That's what they're going to claim. That's it. And it's just going to be a never-ending like cycle of people making shit up. That's what's going to happen. And then and the other side of it, they'll say Israel's behind it and they scrubbed it. They'll be like, Israel got to Trump and got Trump to clean all the names up out of it. It's all a big conspiracy. That's what they'll say. So anyway, well, that's my prediction. We'll see. But that'll be my prediction right there. Welcome to the internet. I'll be your guide. So this was a little bit earlier today. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she spoke a little bit earlier, and here's what she had to say right here. Marjorie Taylor Greene said this right here.
Are sick of, and rightfully so. Now, where does this go from here? The question will remain. Will the Department of Justice release all the information? Will a judge in New York release the information? Will the CIA release the information? And will foreign governments release their information? Or will this continue after this vote today be a cover-up? A cover-up of the rich, powerful elites that bond together in sex and human trafficking abuse and all types of global business that enriches them but never serves Americans. The American people will know, and the victims, actually the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein, will know because they know the list of names. And I remain dedicated to my promise to read those names here on the House floor if those women ever find them in a place that it needs to be done. I yield back to Mr.
Gentlelady
Massey.
from Georgia yields back. Gentleman from Kentucky reserves. Gentlelady from North Carolina.
So there you have it. She had a few other things to say too. She spoke earlier and she activated her victim card over President Trump. Let's see right here. Here we go.
I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me. And I want to tell you that this only became possible today because the American people whom we serve as representatives here in Congress demanded that this vote happen, and they put more pressure on every single elected politician in this city than has ever been put on them. And today you are going to see probably a unanimous vote in the House to release the Epstein files, but the real fight will happen after that.
So there you have it. Let's go back to right here. We have nothing but yeses, yays, no nays at this point in time, which is exactly what many people expected. AOC nay, but votes yay. Daniel Moore says, release the Daniel Moore files. Master MK says, Jay is a good guy, but Jeremy is a fig sometimes. Mark of Reality says, I think MTG is just a show like Elon was. Reverse Lee says, MTG and Loomer both look like men, large ass jaws. I don't think that the Elon thing was a show, and I don't think MTG is a show. I do think that Elon and Trump definitely agreed that them being less public, it was beneficial to both. And I think that has worked out good for them. But I think they legitimately had a falling out. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Trump, I don't think for a second that's a show. I don't think for a second. I mean, she's been moving in this direction for a long time. For a long time. Is Candace Owens a show? I mean, in what reference? Like, do I think Candace Owens believes everything she says? No. But I think Candace Owens knows that it's just like anything else, man. It's supply and demand. There are not a ton of people that have huge platforms that are willing to talk about what she's talking about, but there is a ton of demand out there, so she's offering the supply. It's a smart business move. And that's really what it is. People want to hear what she has to say. People are drawn into that world. And Candace is like, hey, there's a lot of people that really want this to be discussed. I'm going to be the one to do it. And she now has one of the biggest podcasts in the world because of it. Simple as that. More power to her. So, but I think Candace is incredibly smart, incredibly intelligent, and knows exactly what she's doing. And I don't fault her for any of that. So, and I do believe what will ultimately happen is that Candace Owens is probably heading towards getting banned on YouTube. And when she is banned on YouTube, she will claim that it's because she talks about Israel. That will be what her play is. And then she will then try to use that to get people to give her more money. It's kind of like when she got fired from the Daily Wire. And I'm pretty sure she had a massive contract with the Daily Wire. And so when she got fired from the Daily Wire, she actually had like a Give, Send, Go or a GoFundMe set up. And it's like, this chick is married to a dude that's a massive multimillionaire. She's a multimillionaire. And she was so good at playing this, guys, if you want to support me, if you want to support my small little operation here. And I'm like, dude, are people really falling for this? And they were. They absolutely were. But she 100% was doing that. And again, I respect the grift. So, Hectic Design for 20 says Trump can't release the Epstein files alone. Many are sealed, need judicial action. In August 2025, 3 Obama Clinton appointed judges denied DOJ's bid to unseal Maxwell Epstein grand jury records over privacy concerns. That's a good point. And thank you for the super chat. That's a good point because Trump right now is constantly having a lot of his decisions blocked by Obama appointed judges. So many things that Trump wants to do are getting blocked. And yet here's Raskin sitting there going, Trump could release this right now. By the way, look at that. No one is around Thomas Massie. You see that? Thomas Massie standing there all by himself. No one is talking to him. He's having to go find people to talk to him. Nobody cares. Nobody likes you, Massie. He was just standing there all by himself. She's grifting and trying to split Republicans. I mean, I agree, but I mean, what you can't do anything about it. You all you could do is all you can do is combat her with what she's saying if you choose to get into that fight with her. And really, the only people that can really challenge what she's saying is Turning Point USA. And if Turning Point wants to address what Candace Owens is saying, they're the only ones that can put that out. And at that point, you have to make a decision on, is it worth my trouble to entertain this person? And that's what Turning Point's having to do right now. And I don't, what is this right here? Do I have a meeting? Oh, this. So, all right. Anyway, so I look at it as Turning Point's going, is this worth us entertaining? Do we want to give her attention? Well, she's already getting all the attention that she wants. So either, oh, we got a nay. One Republican. He's on the list. One Republican is on the list. He's exposed. Who's the Republican that voted no? Dun, dun, dun. Let's go. Now I want to know. He's on the list. Where's Chris Jericho? You made the list. It's Massey. Let's see. MTG wasn't a traitor to her marriage. Just ask her personal trainer. Yikes. Thank you for the member message. Appreciate that. Maybe his finger slipped. Oh, that went away. It went away. He got scared. He was looking at his phone. Who was it? Who was it? He got the call. He got the call, everybody. As soon as he voted no, he got the call. He saw Jeremy watching the stream. Oh, man. What a disaster. Well, all right. We got less than a minute now. Less than a minute. Jeremy scared him. Don 3PO was in the back and said he'd trip him. The $7,000 check bounced. Daniel Moore says, it was me. I voted no because it implicated us, MB. Block the calls, telling Dan Bass to block Jay's call. By the way, many of you were complaining about a bunch of ads on my recent CobraCast. Listen, if YouTube is putting ads, I might as well just turn ads on. I don't have ads on any of my CobraCast, but somebody said they got like 10 ads, and I'm like, I don't have those ads on. So if YouTube's putting ads on there, then I'm just going to start turning ads on because I might as well make money from it. Now, if you have premium, you're not going to get it. If you have premium, you're not going to get any. Lots of ads. Yeah, this morning, like every 10 minutes. See, I have none of my streams monetized. None of them. Only ads during playback. The ad time is very sus. Yeah, I don't. So I saw a couple of comments. They were complaining. They're like, finally, I got an ad for the first time on this channel. I'm like, what? Democrat has a nay. Look at there. Democrat said no. Who is it? Who is it? You're not going to have any ads on the live. I'm talking about on the playback, though. I'm talking about on the playback, not the actual live. It's Raskin. He's on the list. Hakeem Jeffries, Bernie, a lot of speculation. All right, let's see here. There. All right, we are patiently waiting. This is the house. The chat. This is the house. So now we're waiting. I don't know what we're waiting on. I don't know what the... Somehow Hillary voted no. Somehow. Trying to see... What's that? So I guess I really wanted to talk about the Candace Owens stuff last night. I forgot. Oh, wait, the no went away. Where did it go? They got the call. They got the call. They got the call. Yep. $7,000 check bounced. That's what happens. The vote is rigged. What a joke. What an absolute joke. And by the way, I think that Ronaldo is supposed to be meeting Trump. I don't know if that's today or not. I saw reports about it. Daniel Moore says somehow Palpatine returned. Somehow. No way. The GameCube is 24 years old. Oh, that makes me feel old. Oh, it's got to be older than that, right? Actually. Let's see here. Is it 24? Is that what it is? I am old. Well, thank you. Thank you for telling me what I already knew. Hey, last night when we were playing Fortnite and Beardo, for those that watched the stream last night, we're playing Fortnite. And towards the end, Beardo was all excited because it was like midnight and he was going to order like a couple of double cheeseburgers and some chicken nuggets from McDonald's. He was so excited. And he was like, I don't know if I'm going to. Dude, you deserve it, man. You should totally get McDonald's at midnight. Eat those double cheeseburgers and chicken nuggets. You deserve it. And so He got off stream because his food got there. And the fries. Yeah, and the fries. About 20 minutes after the stream ended, I got a text from Beardo. He goes, dude, I feel like shit. I was like, I called him. He was like, man, I regretted this as soon as I was done. He's like, it was so good. And now I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with me? I was in tears. And he goes, I wasn't sure, but you were gassing me up, telling me, man, that sounds good. That sounds good. Well, it did sound good, but there ain't no way in hell, especially at my age, that I'd be able to pull that off. I could when I was, even in my mid 30s, I could have pulled that off, but I can't pull that off now. Around my mid 30s is when I was like, okay, I got to stop. I got to stop because I can't handle it anymore. Whiskey Niner says, Old Fig 199, hail. Thank you. Journal Duality says, I doubt we will get everyone's name, but I think several politicians will get thrown under the bus to appease the masses. That's what I think too. Unseen Dimension says, it won't help YouTube make money with ads. They are just going to do it themselves. You should probably just add them to help G&G succeed. Well, I mean, this is the thing. I know for a fact I have missed out on tens of thousands of dollars by not monetizing my streams. With that said, I get a lot of super chats and I'm appreciative of that. And so that's why I've never wanted to turn ads on, even though I know I could make a ton more money by monetizing the streams. But if YouTube's going to put ads in there anyway, and that's what I've been told. I've been told for a while that that's what they do, but I don't know. I don't know the process. So, Massey voted nay. So there is one nay, and it's a Republican. So we had a Republican nay, and then it went away. Then we had a Democratic nay, and it went away. Now we've got a Republican again. So that's weird, man. Interesting. Interesting indeed. 7K from Israel makes up for it. All right, so now what are we waiting for? What are these idiots waiting for? I mean, is this not important or not? Like, let's get this thing done. So now it has to, so the whole process here is this is the House. It has to go to the Senate. Then after the Senate, it has to go to President Trump's desk. And they're still just standing around gossiping. That's what they're doing. So you still have 7 people that have not voted yet. Why? I don't know. Who hasn't voted yet? And this is all because Raskin had to do this. I don't really know much about this content creator, but Steve Will Do It got unbanned from YouTube after 3 years. I think he's a Trump guy. So Steve Will Do It unbanned from YouTube after 3 years. I don't know much about him, though. Let's see. They should have done a roll call and make them say yay or nay out loud. That would have been better. That would have been better TV for us. Orbital 1970 Goat. Here's $5 for a Big Mac, Jeremy. I'm not doing it. I can't. Well, I can as long as it's earlier in the day. But I will feel like absolute crap if I eat one now. Or like if I eat it later in the day anyway. The chance is $2 for Jeremy's Big Mac Fund. Bearded Storm Shadow says G&G polls on stupid stuff gets quicker than this. Yes, it does. He got arrested in Disneyland. Who? Steve Will Do It? How the hell you get arrested at Disneyland? Louisiana guy voted no. So now we have 5 more not voted. What's the hold up, people? Who voted no? We don't know yet. There's speculation. What's the point of a 15-minute time limit if you've overshot the 15-minute time limit and you still have 5 idiots that haven't voted? What are we doing? Rand Paul voted no. Think so? Maybe it was Rand Paul.
On this vote, the yeas are 427, the nays are 1. 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended, the bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
There you have it. Now, who's the one? Who's the one?
Pursuant to Clause 8, Rule 20, the unfinished business is the vote on ordering the previous question on House Resolution 879, on which the yeas and nays are ordered. The clerk will report the title of the resolution.
House Calendar Number 47, House Resolution 879. Resolution providing for consideration of the joint resolution, Senate Joint Resolution 80, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to National Petroleum Reserve in Alaska Integrated Activity Plan Record of Decision, providing for consideration of the joint resolution. House
Representative Higgins out of Louisiana appears to be the one no. Representative Higgins. Let's listen to our DEI officer, though.
Buffalo Field Office Record of Decision and Approved Resource Management Plan Amendment, providing for consideration of the joint resolution, House Joint Resolution 131, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to Coastal Plain Oil and Gas Leasing Program Record of Decision, providing for consideration of the concurrent resolution, House Concurrent Resolution 58, denouncing the horrors of socialism, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 1949, to repeal restrictions on the import of natural gas, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 3109, to require the Secretary of Energy to direct the National
What the hell? Like, what's all this background noise?
Petrochemical refineries in the United States and for other purposes, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 5107, to repeal the Comprehensive Policing and Justice Reform Amendment Act of 2022, enacted by the District of Columbia County.
Hypnotic says, don't worry, guys. They are cheering over the files. They're cheering because there's a car chase happening at the same time. If you know, you know. We all know that one. Okay, bro. Somebody in the chat said, who's the hottie?
Threat to the public.
Okay, hold on. Whoever said that in the chat, who's the hottie? Whether you're referring to her or me is a very big concern, and there's no right answer, okay? You need to stop. You need to stop.
Vote question. Members will record their vote by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
What is this a vote for? I missed it. What was this a vote for? I missed it. Vote for Israel? Some Bureau of Land Management shit. All right. Let me catch up here. Heavy D says Clay Higgins is a former police captain. What the F? I mean, him voting no is probably just like, it's probably so he can say, like, when this thing backfires, or if he thinks it's going to backfire, so he can go, well, I voted no for it. That's what I think. But who knows? So right here, the sole nay vote on compelling the release of the Epstein files is Clay Higgins. Higgins supported the full oversight investigation into the Epstein files and Ghislaine Maxwell. So let's see. Chairman Comer's full-scale investigation into the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell is the best option for us to reveal the horrors of the most notorious child predator of our time. This is a crucial investigation mission, and I'm confident that with the support of the White House and full legislative authority, the truth will be disclosed to we the people. I will be lead investigator of the Oversight Committee's investigation, and the American people know that I will not hold back. But he's the one nay, so I don't know what his reasoning is, but there's probably something to it. But he's going to get eaten alive for this. He's going to get eaten alive. Regardless of if he has any legitimate reasons, they're going to eat him alive over this. T-Rex and Crypto Travel says, I heard something about voting to condemn and acknowledge the horrors of socialism. Let's see. It's a very weird move. Yeah, it's not the smartest move, I don't think. I don't think it's the most intelligent thing he could have done. But maybe he's got his reasoning that he thinks going to justify it, but I think he's going to get eaten alive. So that would be my thought on it right there. But if you're just tuning in, the House has almost universally voted to release the Epstein files. You had one nay, which was Clay Higgins out of Louisiana. But other than that, it was universal. Now it goes to the Senate. I don't know when that's supposed to happen. And then after the Senate, it's supposed to go to President Trump's desk. So that's where we are right now. Does anybody know when it's supposed to go to the Senate? I haven't heard that yet. So, and then many of you are asking me about this right here. So I'll show you. We have a clip here on the channel. So this is on our shorts tab. This is President Trump yesterday. Hang on. Oh my God. Shorts are so fucking annoying.
Yeah, Jennifer, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, Jennifer, go ahead. Quiet.
Trump, man, is he's one of one. He is one of one. But you can go see that short over there on my D-Day Cobra Shorts feed right there. So unbelievable. There we have it. Okay, let me see if I can find out when it's supposed to go to the Senate. Beardo Piggy, says Andrew CR. All right, nothing yet. They will release the files and nothing will be in them. That's what I think too. That's what I'm thinking. I do not think that you're going to get a lot out of this. I think it's going to be a big nothing burger. Rob says the reason to vote nay might be because it will let certain people off the hook because of legal protections not being given to defendants. Maybe. I think it's a bad move at this point, but T-Rex and Crypto Travel says, I bet money that goes into the Senate gets amended to add some BS about health care for illegals or something, and then fails to pass in the Senate. Well, and I don't even know what the anticipation is for the Senate. So do we wonder if like it could it maybe just not make it through the Senate? I don't know. But my prediction for those that are tuning in, I predicted this already, but like This is going to end up being a big nothing burger. This is going to be a big nothing burger. 0 people are going to be happy with the results of this. This is my prediction. And we're going to continue to talk about this Epstein file situation till the end of time, because this is all they have. And it's all that they have that in theory has kind of like stuck to Trump. He has not been able to get away from this, but it's mainly because there's nothing to disprove it. There's nothing to prove it. So it's just a bunch of people throwing accusations out there. So that's where we're at. Sad but true. And welcome to where we are. Let's see. What is this? Democrats don't want you reading this email from Hakeem Jeffries' team. Solicited campaign money from Jeffrey Epstein. Yikes. What is Timu Obama hiding from the American people? Quote, is encouraging his friends to participate in the fundraising dinner to Jeffrey Epstein. Isn't that interesting? Oh, thought Jeffrey Epstein was so bad and Trump, anybody connected to him like Trump was so bad. This is where virtue signaling gets you right here. This is what happens when you virtue signal nonstop. This is it. Dark Knight says, I have a question. Why was nobody talking about these files when Trump came down the escalator or during those terrible 4 years when they were making up charges? Well, and it's a good question, but like the first 4 years, Jeffrey Epstein was not arrested. Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in, I want to say 2019, right? 2019 is when Epstein was arrested, if I'm not mistaken, under the Trump administration. So Epstein was arrested in 2019, if I'm correct. Chat will correct me on that. So 2006, well, again, that was a previous one. I'm talking about when's the one that he was arrested for all of this horrible stuff. So, yeah, but the first time he was arrested in 2006, but 2019 is when he was arrested for everything that we know. And so the valid question is, why didn't the Biden administration release everything? If they're so concerned with it, why didn't the Biden administration drop everything? And we already know the answer to that. We know the answer. We know exactly why they didn't. Well, because number one, there's nothing generally speaking in them. But number two, there's certain things that they don't want out there from a Democratic standpoint. So, James says, a Nigerian prince sent me here. Hope this is the right place. Only if you send $100 super chat. That was probably in the email. That's what I hear. The chat says it's like Disney Star Wars. They ruin everything. OG Star Wars, prequels, sequels, Clone Wars, etc. Then now are at the bottom of the barrel. Same exact thing. That is a perfect example. And this is why the Star Wars thing will always be a great example of everything that's happened, because the Star Wars example is a perfect analogy for so many things. You bought Star Wars. Disney bought Star Wars in 2012. When the lead into The Force Awakens, Star Wars has probably never been more popular than it was at that moment in time. And you had the prequel generation, you had the original trilogy generation, and then you had this new generation of people, and Star Wars was on fire. And in just a couple of years, they pissed all of that goodwill away. And instead of course correcting when they realized that they pissed all that goodwill away, they made it worse. And they made it worse. And then they kept making it worse. And now they're at the point where they're scraping the bottom of the barrel and they don't have any relevancy, generally speaking, whatsoever. And it's just so unbelievably bad what they've done between the theme parks, between the movies, television shows, the merchandise, the toys. It's all awful. It's all awful. So, so that's a good analogy for where the Democrats are now, and the TDS crowd is that they have thrown everything at Trump. They've thrown everything, and they're now at the point where all they have left is Epstein, and they're going to make themselves look stupid in the process to try and get Trump. Oh, yeah, I got to go to live chat or Cam Man will yell at me. Let's go to live chat. There we go. Live chat. Now Cam Man will be happy. Cam Man always gets mad at me if I don't have live chat on. Let's see here. Rose Tico was the best character ever introduced to Star Wars. Heavy D says the Epstein files will end up being just a bunch of Slim Jim rappers and a copy of The Last Jedi and an autograph by Mark Hamill. Trust me. Trust me. DJ P says, Jeremy, are you live or did you pre-record? This is pre-recorded. So don't send like the only super chats that I can read on the pre-record is anything like $50 and up. So if you send anything that's less than 50, I don't have my AI trained to read that. So, but this is a pre-recorded, so I won't respond to anything directly in the chat unless it's $50 and up. And that's just the programming. You can't blame me. It's just whatever the AI allows. So, DJP says, thanks, Jeremy. You're welcome. You're welcome. Glad I could help. So, yeah, I'm always here to help. Always here to help. So, professional grifter. I liked having the chat right here on screen when I don't have anything else that I'm showing. It's a lot better like this. So this is going to be the new thing we do. That might be a thing soon. Sadly, it will be. I mean, I showed you some of the AI songs that are out there. It's crazy, man. Phil says, we are getting the files before GTA 6, possibly. Maybe. I'm not convinced that we're going to get these files yet. I'm not convinced. Look up Higgins' response. Okay, let's see if we can find that really quick. Okay, right here. Clay Higgins was the lone member of Congress to vote against releasing the Epstein files. According to Higgins, this bill exposes and harms thousands of innocent people, and it abandons 250 years of criminal justice procedure in America. That's kind of like, that's a lot of that is what Trump's stance on it was as well, is why he felt it was dangerous to release this. But the noise has just gotten so crazy that fuck it, you know? So I don't know, man. I have no idea what to think on this whole situation. So, but that apparently is his reasoning for it. I don't think it's good. I think it's terrible optics for him. But I kind of respect that he's not playing the optics game at the same time. Most of these politicians are only worried about optics, and he's not. So I give him credit for that. Okay, we got that. We got that. So I still haven't seen an update on when the Senate is going to vote for it, but we did get this right here today. Nicki Minaj thanks President Trump for defending Christians in Nigeria.
I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage and calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief.
I mean, that's shocking. Again, I can't say I know anything about Nicki Minaj. I don't think I can name a song of hers. I don't think I would recognize her if she was walking down the street. So I'm not, it's not like I'm going to go listening to her songs now because she said that, but I guess more power to her. Congratulations. Let me see. WAP. Did she do that WAP song? Oh, God. Good Lord. I didn't need to be reminded of that. You know what's crazy is I don't think I've ever heard the WAP song, but I heard Ben Shapiro's version of it, which is crazy. So I remember Ben Shapiro's version. I don't remember hers. What up, Savvy? Are the files out yet? No. House voted to release them. Now it goes to the Senate. Then the Senate votes. And then if the Senate votes, then it goes to President Trump's desk. President Trump has to sign it. And then it gets released. That's what's going to happen. Ben Shapiro's version was lit. Ben Shapiro's the best rapper of our generation. So this is why nothing is done. Maybe by 5 p.m. I don't think the Senate's going to vote on it today. I don't think so at all. I think the Senate may drag it out a couple of days. I don't even know though. Sad part is it has a chance to fail in the Senate. Dude, that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious if it fails in the Senate. They said the Senate votes tomorrow. Okay. Well, I don't know if I can cover that tomorrow. Sadly, I have to go back to the doctor tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to that. I'm really fucking not. So, I hate going to the doctor more than anything in the world, man. I despise it with every bone in my body. God, it's the worst. Just in me. I don't, instead of going through this shit. So, why, doctor? Are you dying? Are you okay? I hope I'm not dying. This is what I worry about every time I go to the doctor. I just ask them, like, am I going to die? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, that's good. Quit asking for the full list. It's the worst. Going to the doctor's the worst thing ever. Sex change? Maybe. Can I get more super chats that way? Bro, I will 100% go ahead. I'll grift the sex change right now. If I can get more super chats, I'll might as well. I bet I'll get more super chats if I'm a chick. Know what I'm saying? You need to grow up, Jeremy. Fuck that. Growing up is gay. I don't want to grow up. Oh, there's Clay Higgins right here. Okay, so here's his actual tweet right here. I have been a principled no on this bill from the beginning. What was wrong with the bill 3 months ago is still wrong today. It abandons 250 years of criminal justice procedure in America. As written, this bill reveals and injures thousands of innocent people, witnesses, people who provided alibis for family members. If enacted in its current form, this type of broad reveal of criminal investigative files released to the rabid media will absolutely result in innocent people being hurt, not by my vote. The Oversight Committee is conducting a thorough investigation that has already released well over 60,000 pages of documents for the Epstein case. That effort will continue in a manner that provides all due protections for innocent Americans. If the Senate amends the bill to properly address the privacy of victims and other Americans who are named but not criminally implicated, then I will vote for that bill when it comes back to the House. That's a bad fucking take, brother. This is a horrific take. Read the room at this point in time. Read the room. Simple as that. This is a terrible, terrible take from him. Like, no, I'm not arguing specifically what he's saying as much as we are done with your bullshit. That's what it comes down to. The people are tired of the dancing and the bullshit around this list or this information or whatever. People are just like, release what you got and shut the fuck up. All of this could have been done. The time for this is over. So whatever. Release whatever bullshit you got and then let everybody still be mad afterwards. But this is where we are. So Let's see. Heavy D. The Epstein files will end up being. Oh, I got that one. Phil says. I got that one too. Okay. Well, we got Tuesday night's main event tonight, so that'll be fun. So Tuesday night's main event over on the main Geeks and Gamers channel should be fun. There's a lot to talk about tonight. I mean, there's a lot. We're gonna be covering the Game Awards. We're gonna be covering all this stuff. Catching up on all this news. So for now, that's it. It looks like we got the Senate tomorrow. I don't know what my schedule is tomorrow. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to, I don't know if I'm going to be able to cover tomorrow's vote or not. We'll just have to see. I don't have an answer for you yet, but as soon as I find out, I will let you know. Also, really quick, before we leave, because we haven't talked about it, go over to geeksgamers.com or rip a send and get your holiday merch bundle. You only got about 7 days left before that is over. So make sure you go over there, check it out. Link is in the comments. Lady Erin D has a link right there. I will pin that post. So make sure you go check that out. Love to see you guys rocking the 199 hoodie or the Cultural Crusader shirt. That's the only way you can get me to admit that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, which it's not, is if we sell 400 of those. So, anyway, thank you guys so much. Tuesday night's main event tonight, main Geeks and Gamers channel. I appreciate it. IDOT hat 199 hoodie and the Cultural Crusader, or the Cultural Task Force, t-shirt. So you guys have a good evening, and we will talk to you later. Bye, everyone. And thank you for the super chats. Appreciate it. And see you on main event. Bye, everyone.